Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we're talking with Mr. Scott Stevens from the Exies. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Tom, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. And I have to admit, when I just got your name, I didn't get the band beside the email. So when you type in
Yeah,
Scott Stevens, it comes up with every possible name other than yours first,
that's great.
especially with NHL Scott Stevens from the Red Wings there. He has a lot of different stuff on there.
Yeah, he was. I'm not a huge like hockey follower, but yeah, I know about him, and he was a. I guess he was a really good fighter too.
Yeah. Yeah, he was back in the
Yeah,
old school hockey days where he liked to throw down and just punch someone out.
beat people.
Yeah. Well, we're here today to talk about you, about the music, about the band. But for those who are new, can you give me a little intro about yourself?
Well, I am Scott Stevens, not the hockey player. I am a writer, producer, but I was in a band called the Exies back in the early 2000s, and we did like 12 years of touring, 12 years of struggling and and joy and frustration and everything that goes with touring and making records. But ultimately, it was an amazing time, and that's where I got my start. Um, as far as what brought me to where I'm at today.
Hmm.
It started in the band world, and I did that for a decade plus, like I said, and then I started writing, and then that turned into more of writing, producing, and that's where that brings us to present day.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite part about the process when you're putting together music? Then you've been in the live stuff, you've done the writing, producing. So, is there one that really sparks your interest the most?
Um, it's kind of hard to say. Playing songs that you wrote and people when they know them and they sing those words back to you and spend their hard-earned money to come and see you is a miracle. It's a magical thing, and the way the connection with music, um, what it does, that spark, that chemistry thing, connection again. Like I said, it's unbeatable. There, also, though, writing, with another artist, which I've written with so many wonderful, talented, uh, huge artists. When you hatch something that you both are feeling in that moment, that's about as good as it gets when you're in the writing world. That's that moment that you're getting something that works is so special, and it it's 100%. The two of you or however many people are in the room, it's yours before everybody else's. And that's really where you want to get to. You really want to hope that the song is good enough that it becomes everybody else's, and not yours anymore. But that moment when you come up with it, that's magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be unique just having that feeling of that piece that everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah. Well, you don't really know for sure if everybody's going to like it, but you know that you like it in that moment. And, and usually the people I work with, everybody's been around the block. So we know when we've got a good idea, we've got something that feels like that's going to work. Um,
Hmm.
and then it's ultimately up to people whether or not they like it or not.
Yeah, for sure. Now, who would you say was like an influence for your sound as you were coming up and kind of putting yourself together as a musician?
I think it's my mom's record collection when I was really really young. Like I remember all the way back to being like 5 or 6 years old, and she loved the Beatles and the classic rock stuff and the Eagles and Stevie Wonder and all that stuff. And so you get steeped in some of that music, really before you find. Uh, but to be are maybe arguably, the really started to kick off for me like around the grunge era. That really started to make me say like this is my music. Uh you know this is something that I feel. This is something that I can relate to, and that brought my band into the post grunge era is when we started, and put out our first major label record in 2003. So, but there's great music in the 80s too. I mean, you go back and listen, and I mean, AC/DC, and then there was, of course, the hair bands, and some of those were great, like Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, when the whole grunge movement started, that really like knocked me off my feet. I thought it was exciting, fresh, very me.
Yeah, that's a pinnacle on part of my playlist. Is I got a whole bunch of some old school grunge stuff, and I definitely have
Yeah,
fun with it for sure.
it's good stuff.
hmm Now, being with the band as long as you have, and the roller coaster career that you guys have had, you guys are coming up with a reunion show now on at the Viper Room. How's that going to be?
We just did it.
Oh,
we did
okay.
it on the we did it on the 29th of May. It was incredible. It was more it you have some expectations, you hope, because you've been away for so long,
hmm
but I don't think any of us expected what happened, and it was our first show in 14 years, and it was our first show in 18 years with our drummer
Okay.
Dennis, and we played it at the Viper Room, which is where we got signed back in the day. Everything that ever happened to this band happened out of that place. Of course, I played all the places on the strip. I played Roxy and Ski. I did all of that. But the Viper Room is where we seem to always get the labels to come and see us. And in true music industry fashion, everybody passed on us at the beginning. And then we ended up doing one last showcase, and an indie came in and signed us. And that record actually got us to our major label debut, which was Inertia 2000. So it was incredible. People flew in from all over the country to see this. I mean, we sold it out. There was a line of people that couldn't get in. And I kept on it, saying on my socials, like, make sure you get your tickets, but I'll be honest, the ticket sales were really slow in the beginning. And I think we were all a little concerned about, well, I guess it'll just be what it'll be. And then literally 2 weeks before the show, the tickets went up, and I think we had 30 left like 2 days before the show. They were
Nice.
gone. And that was it, man. So it was a great way to come back. Everybody sang every lyric to every song, not just the songs that were on the radio and things. So it was a love fest. It was amazing to be welcomed back that way. And like I said, for people to fly all the way from Maine or New York or New Jersey or Florida or Texas or Grand Rapids, Michigan, like it was incredible to come to LA.
hmm Yeah, that's gotta be a fun like homecoming in that way too.
Amazing. You know what? Because we are an LA band, but we were never really big in LA. Like we could probably half fill the whiskey, or maybe if we did a residency, like we could probably get it pretty. What I think it's like what 800, 700 people, something like that. Like we could get it pretty full if we played every week. But we were a band that had its day in Houston, and we in Dallas, and in Minneapolis, and Chicago, and even in New York and Florida. And that's where we seem to thrive.
hmm
Just being from LA.
It seems like that's the story for a lot of bands. You're never usually blow up at home before other places, really.
Yeah, yeah. I think it is a common story. But it was nice to have this homecoming, and have it be packed. But like I gotta say, I think more than half the people from everywhere else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's pretty fun though, still.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So I'm curious what the process is like when you're putting together music. You've had your hiatuses a couple times, but now that you're back together and putting together more music, what's it like when everyone's getting together to do that?
Well, right now, I mean, the songs that are coming out were all created during COVID, so I did them because nobody was getting together in COVID, and
Hmm.
I was uh, really studying the past of what we, you know, well, look, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. When COVID hit and the lockdown, trapped us all in wherever we were. Um, After I started to really question, like, is this the future of life now? Is this something that we're going to have to adapt to forever? Like, what is this? And um, I wasn't working. I wasn't writing and producing for others like I, was. And there was Zoom, like what we're doing right now. But I was like, Zoom and writing a song over Zoom, like I'm not into that. So I,
Hmm.
I really didn't participate in the Zoom writing thing for till about 3 or 4 months into the COVID lockdown. And during that time, for whatever reason, I started to hear melodies and titles and write some words that felt like my band from 15 years ago. And I I just kind of followed it as a fun, there's no expectations, there's no label, there's no touring, there's no anything. So why not just, you know, follow this and see where it goes?
Yeah.
And I wrote a song called Sad First, which is based off of my seasonal affective disorder that I get every year. When the seasons change, I get, I just kind of get gloom, melancholy, I guess. And I know a lot of people do. So, that was, and being in COVID felt like seasonal affective disorder anyway, around the world. And that was the first song that I started to kind of write, but I couldn't finish it. And another song came called Spirits High. And that was the song I released last year. So it was the first one in, I think, 16 years, first song from the Exies. But I studied a lot of what we had done in the past, and so everybody's seen those songs, even though I'm the one playing the parts. This is what Chris would do, or this is what David would have done, and this is what Freddie would have done on the bass, and here's the beat that I think Dennis would have played, and so it just became a hobby and kind of fun, and the song came out really good, and they put it out, and I think it got 100,000 streams in about 20 days,
Nice.
and that was with nothing. There's nobody pushing that, not a dollar put behind it, other than my sweat equity of just doing it at my house. And then L.A. Lloyd picked it up on the Rock 30, which is a nationwide rock countdown that's on twice a day. And the song went #1. And that's all based off of fans. And people call it in, as it's what they call specialty radio, I guess. Um, and that really started the conversations again of does a #1 song, does it need a show to back that up?
Hmm.
And that's when the talks started to maybe we should get together. And so we did a Zoom, and and we talked about it, and it took us a better part of almost a year to get to this last show that just happened 10 days ago. Because everybody has lives and everybody moved on, and so we just started talking about what songs would we do and how would we do this, and uh, you know that will make a fun little documentary if we ever get to it. Because I started taping myself working on the songs, and it's hysterical. I'm really bad in the beginning, and I think the other guys said the same thing. They just couldn't really remember the songs, but as time goes on, and you practice a little bit more. Then we started booking rehearsals and talking, everybody was good with the songs, so like that I had done, because there was no getting together, so nobody had any like, well, sure could have played all that. Like I said, I did it all with a very delicate hand and
Hmm.
like things that I knew the guys would play. So in all essence, it is the Exies because the sound and the songs they're not trying to be like modern music is today. I mean, it's definitely still, and that's where I just wanted to start where we left off, and
Yeah.
I think it clocked it pretty good. It sounds like it really does. That was no easy feat, but looking back on it now, it's a great journey. Got me to talking to you today. There
Yeah,
we go.
honestly, these interviews for me started during COVID. I'm actually a photographer and I'd get out and cover live shows. And then
Yeah,
when,
cool.
when COVID hit, no live shows happened. And a PR company reached out to me and said, "Do you want to interview so and so?" And just kind of went from there.
Great, man. See, enterprising during the lockdown. And that's when I have a writing team, which I can plug here a little bit, called the Four Horsemen.
Okay.
And, Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and we formed together during COVID, appropriate. And, then we started zooming and writing, and that got us a joint publishing deal as we were coming out of COVID and things were going again. And, people kind of see the light of day and the touring was going to happen again. And we just started working with everybody. From Shinedown and Hailstorm and Nothing More and Honey Suspect and everybody. And, a lot of the stuff you hear on Octane. And we got a lot of bands, got a lot of cuts over the last like 3 or 4 years, and it's just great to be in it. Like I said, so many talented bands out there, and it's great when you can be a part of something like that.
For sure. Now, the back half of my interviews, I always ask some fun questions to kind of make you think a little bit more. And I
Sure.
think this one's going to be interesting because you've had a fairly long, stint in the music industry. What's one thing you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
It's a great question. I'm stumped. I mean, I guess you can always ask like how the songs get written, how's the process, maybe for the people out there that don't play a musical instrument and understand kind of how this all happens and comes together. Um, that would be a good question. I think a lot of probably bands and writers and even producers and maybe engineers can talk about like the how things happen.
Hmm.
Um, because it's some of it is very technical and some of it is just magical. You're pulling something from nothing and
Yeah.
you're trying to get it to come out of your mouth. The idea is this, or the lyric is this, or the melody goes like this. And that thing of taking something from out there that doesn't exist, that's the magical part. Then the honing of it, I guess I equate the short answer would be, I guess if you find a diamond, in a state of this. Sorry, we're driving.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you find a diamond. There's the saying, "Diamond in the rough," and it's like it's all milky and it's not and it's dirty and it needs to be cut and polished and shaped and cut and polished and shaped again. And that's a lot of what happens with songwriting. Um, you get creativity, you get an inspiration, maybe a few lines happen or just an idea happens, a thought or a feeling happens, and that's about 2%. And then the other like 98%, you got to just start whittling it down. And what am I trying to say? And how do I get it to fit into this? And so there's a lot of that. It's just like puzzles. It's really complicated puzzles.
Hmm.
It's the only way I can kind of say out. That's kind of what it is. A really difficult crossword puzzle, something like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because you could probably spend a whole conversation just talking about a couple of the production sides of things, and you can really get into a lot of deep aspects.
Yeah, producing engineering into these songs and how many guitar parts and how many layers and who did what at what time and was everybody together when they did it? Most of the time, no.
Mhm.
People are separate or they're in separate rooms cutting. There's a million ways to skin this cat of the music industry, but um, yeah, it's a lot of elbow grease, man.
For sure. Now, speaking of, you talked a bit about like potentially making like a documentary and stuff like that. Who would play you and the band members in the movie of your guys' lives?
I don't know if that would ever happen. I just mean like if we did a documentary about the process of being a band that we were and then going away for so long and then what we've done in the meantime and then getting back to playing shows again, I think that'd be a fun probably 15-30 minute thing for the band that cared. um, who knows? I mean, there's no plan to do this. I'm just kind of speaking in what ifs and generalities.
Hey, it could be fun though, that's for sure.
It could be fun. You never know. You don't have to be a big band to have a fun, cool documentary. And you don't have to be U2 or Alice in Chains or there's lots of bands like ours that had their moment and had their songs and people stuck with it and here we are 20 years later and we're still getting 300,000 listeners a freaking month on Spotify without trying anything.
Hmm.
So and sometimes it goes over 500,000. You never go. You never know. Go on 60, 40. Yeah.
Well, I can edit some videos and stuff like that every so often. So if you guys want to talk about putting something together and have footage, like we can definitely look at that later on.
Sure. Yeah, we just shot this show and we're gonna figure out a way to cut that out. We kind of already have the team dialed in on that one.
Hmm.
But we're gonna see where it goes from here, man. As far as we played one show. There's no plans to play a second show yet. There is the want to play a second show. I think one of them. It was so much fun that why wouldn't we do it again? Just got to figure out where logistics,
Yeah,
how and money. That is.
all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So an important question then is, as a band, what do you hope that people take away from your music?
I just hope that people find something in it that they relate to. They see themselves in it. I'm a very introspective writer. I'm an introspective person. I'm kind of a lover. When I was a kid, I didn't. I have stepbrothers and I have half brothers that came later in life. So I was an only child. So I spent a lot of time alone and my own imagination and whatnot. So I write from that perspective, and I feel that there's a lot of people out there that ponder and wonder about you know their life, their future, where are they going, where have they been, and are they touching their dreams? Is is there something hopeful in their life? Are they feeling hopeless? Are they feeling stuck, or are they feeling free? I kind of write about a lot of it, but I always to be a little bit of a sad kid. Uh, but I tried to pepper it with optimism, some kind of sullen optimism or something that's like maybe hopefully tragic. That's the only way I can kind of describe it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's something that everyone takes a little bit from on different aspects for sure.
Yeah, we all relate to certain songs, some we don't.
Yeah. So, last but not least, I think the most important question is, are you happy?
Yes, very much so. Like I said, I'm always somewhat a bit like sullen or sad in whatever reason. I don't know. Something's probably wrong with me, but uh, you know, I would say I'm very happy with what has just happened with this gig, and uh, basically these songs, the way they sound, and the way people are relating to them. It's been so long since we've put out music which it related to the fans and talked to them, and made a T-shirt, sold it, and they wear it, or they get a tattoo, or so. Yeah, I'm very happy. It's very unexpected. It's amazing. Um, I'll take every bit of it
Hmm.
for as long as it'll keep going.
I mean, I think that's the way that it should be. Take what you can when you get it.
Yeah, I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to follow it, and I try to have as much fun with it as I can while it's being
Hmm.
offered.
Exactly. Well, man, that's all I have written down here. It was great to get to pick your brain a bit. Do you want to leave any final words of wisdom for people?
Follow your joy. Try to find what makes you happy. What gives you something to purpose? What gives you purpose? If you're in something that you don't like, have the courage to follow your dreams, man, and to get out of situations that you don't like, that aren't healthy for you.
Mhm.
We all sometimes stick around into things that aren't good for us, because we're afraid of change, and maybe that means being alone for a little while. But in the end, you're going to benefit from it because you're going to follow your heart. You're going to know yourself better if you do that.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
keep dreaming and keep on your path.
Awesome. Well, we'll sign off, but I definitely look forward to maybe getting some more music from you guys and seeing some new stuff coming out.
Yeah, dude, we got an EP dropping on June 28th.
June 28th.
Mm.
All right. I'll
I think it's June 28th or the 29th. You can ask the management company. I believe it's that Friday. So whatever that Friday is, the end of
yeah.
June, that's when the new EP is dropping, and it's called Closure. And it's a series of chapters. It's all these songs from this COVID lockdown, and how I was feeling at that time. So again, I hope people see themselves in it somewhere, and can enjoy it.
Well, we'll make sure we link socials and website and all that so people can get a closer look at it.
Thanks, Tom. I really appreciate it, man.
All right, maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yes, brother. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Sounds good. You have a good one.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.